Hello, I'm Julian Whittle from Cumbria Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here with Councillor Graham Vincent, the Economy and Assets Portfolio Holder at South Lakeland District Council. Graham, South Lakeland has just relaunched the website www.investinsouthlakeland.co.uk. Why have you done that, and what are you hoping to achieve?
Well, we did that because it was very noticeable that hits had been low and dwell time on the site very short, and we didn't take very much to find out the problem. The site had masses of information, there was no questioning its accuracy, but it was just too much. We decided what we wanted was a first page that will capture what we're trying to do in South Lakeland, which is improve our economy and make ourselves show that we're a good place to do business, and then just have a much smaller number of pages that will lead you on to elsewhere, but that capture the major functions.
So it's really a shop window, if you like, for South Lakeland, for businesses who potentially might be relocating to the area. Is that the idea?
I think you've described that dead on. That's what it is. This will be our front-facing service, that people's first point of contact.
Fair enough. So what can businesses visiting the site expect? I mean, in specifics, how can it help them?
In the first instance, there will be photographs and names of contacts that they will find useful within the Economic Development Department. We've got a professional department, and people in there are skilled in various aspects of economic development and associated works around economic development. And so they will find that, then they will find our land and premises register, what we have available,
right,
the sites that we have available, and then there'll be assistance to relocation as best we can offer.
I know that South Lakeland, as a local authority, puts a lot of emphasis on assisting businesses, and you have other initiatives, don't you, such as Mintworks in Kendal. Tell me about these.
Yeah, well, Mintworks came. We became aware that there was no start-up office space available. It was quite expensive here, property and office space, and there was no private sector system in place. So we felt it would be right for us to provide that space. We purchased an empty business premises. We reconfigured it inside, put heating, decent phone, and created a space for approximately 12 fledgling businesses, along with meeting rooms and a foyer where it can be managed. It's not managed all the time. That has been jam-packed full from day one.
Right. And
we have a slow turn, which is what we look for. We want to see the business surviving, then we want to see the successful ones moving on, bigger premises, and new people come in, and that is happening. And as it happens, we also run it at a really small profit. So it's not, apart from the initial investment, it's not a drain on our budgets at all. So, and of course, hopefully we get a fair number of long surviving startups.
So it's like an incubator, really, isn't it? That helps fledgling businesses and hopefully sets them on their way to something bigger and better.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word when we were speaking. It is an incubator. Thank you very much.
Well, you mentioned a minute ago the economic development team, even led by Gareth Canlin. Now it's interesting that a lot of local authorities, because of government spending cuts, have cut back on their economic development teams, but it's still a priority for South Lakeland. What do they do, and how can they help businesses?
Well, they are really what the name implies. They have skills in, first of all, engaging with businesses. This is the prime thing. Unless we know what businesses want, what businesses fear, if businesses have a problem, then our base businesses are at risk, and that's not economic development. So we need to see our existing businesses grow. They are the foundation of our economy, and we assist wherever we can in that growth. But it is absolutely about a relationship with business. We never had any relationship here when we took over as the administration, and it was a gap that was immediately noticeable.
So what sort of things can they do then?
Well, I mean, we advise on business premises.
Yeah.
We advise on whatever support we can get. We have a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce that delivers our business support, and the Chamber our longest standing economic partner. We have quite a close tie with them on a number of things.
Sure.
And that then we can offer them business advice. We can put them in touch with support areas that they might need, specialist areas. We can advise, we can give them planning advice, of course. And that's a main function here. Broadly speaking, what we try to show business is that we're a business-focused authority. That is where we are. Business is at the heart of everything that we do. The economy is our joint number one, because we have a housing priority, and the two are inextricably linked.
I was going to say it's an issue because we'll come on to this actually.
Okay.
But the idea that you need the housing there to house the workers, and otherwise businesses can't recruit. But when you talk about the economy, it is in pretty good shape in South Lakeland. I think only 0.7% of the workforce are claiming out of work benefits. That's job seekers allowance and the new universal credit. That's the lowest proportion, not just in Cumbria, but in the whole of the North West. It's one of the lowest in the country. And South Lakeland's the fastest growing economy in Cumbria and North Lancashire, and it was one of the top performing areas in the North West in the Grant Thornton Vibrant Economy Index. Now, why do you think it is that South Lakeland's doing so well? What's the secret of your success?
We have good foundation businesses for a start. They are very individual businesses, and they are, in their own right, absolute leaders in their field. So we've got that good foundation. We do have this business engagement I've spoken about, where we run business forums. We that engage with the bigger businesses. They feel valued, I think, or at least that's the intention, to show them that they're valued. But there is just that buzz that there is around with businesses. Our businesses are always looking forward. They're not looking for an excuse for failure. They are very much go-getters, and it's just built up over those years since we really partnered with the Cumbria Chamber of Commerce. We have developed from then on until we in this position now. Businesses are doing well. It is tourism led, the biggest section of the community, but our manufacturing businesses are performing.
There's some very good, especially in Kendal and Ulverston. But interesting, what strikes me about South Lakes now is it's a very diversified economy. You're not reliant on one or two employers. Perhaps, past in the Kendal you could have looked at K Shoes, when they were big employers here, and Provincial, later AXA, when they went, that was a big hole. But now it's a very diversified economy. You're not reliant on one or two big players, are you?
We've not taken a sectoral approach to where we would like to develop. We try and develop the economy per se. We do have anchor, what I would like to call anchor companies, the likes of Lakeland, James Cropper, Mardix, Kendal Nutricare, the emerging company now, who's sort of revolutionised, revolutionised redundant factory, but they've got exciting products, and I think that is the flavour for this area, I believe, and underpinning that, we've got lots of technology companies, creative industries, the support manufacturing units. We're just looking at one metal manufacturer wants to double the size of his his premises and his employees. These are the sorts of things that our economic team get involved in.
Now, because economic success brings its own challenges, and the feedback we as a chamber get from members in South Lakeland is that many of them are struggling to recruit staff, particularly for skilled roles. How do we address that?
Well, this is and has been for a little while. If an engineer was to lose his job at one practice, an engineer would get a job the next day in South Lakeland.
Yeah.
They are highly valued people. There is a shortage of skilled people, and that's pretty well across the whole northwest. And demand is really exceeding supply. But we work closely with the colleges. We're now working very closely with Lancaster University. We stood back and looked at the university and thought, every year hundreds of well qualified people are leaving here. But they're not coming to us.
How do we keep them here?
They're not coming to us.
Yeah.
So we're with the university. They are now evolving as a truly kingpin operation in economic development, and we'll see where this takes us. But we could do with perhaps a better graduate placement scheme, and we've got those sorts of things in the areas that we're wanting to be involved in, influencing our further education colleges, and I guess influencing schools in a way. We don't have a direct link there, but our schools are technology based. They have a performing arts space. So it depends what area of business is looking for. Our schools are producing some really star pupils.
Because it's not just about skilled roles, because as a chamber did some research last year on the impacts of Brexit, and a big concern, particularly in the hospitality and food sectors, is that the supply of migrant labour might dry up after Brexit. Now, do you think we can adapt if there is a fall in the numbers of EU workers here?
I think this is probably the biggest challenge that we face at the lower, the lower skills base, because some of our Eastern European workers have their own businesses here. They're well skilled, and some of them have decided that they'll take their business to other countries, and they've emigrated to Germany or to France, and I think that's fully understandable. And with the pound being weak, they're probably supporting families back in their home country. They don't have so much money to send back home. So, but in terms of the European labour leaving this country, that they have served us really well, in my view, particularly in the hospitality trade. They've been good quality employers, and it's tragic that they're going. We see this happening in the crop growing areas, where the news this week was that crops will probably be left to rot because they can't pick them.
We came across businesses particularly in the Lake District National Park, where 50% of the workforce were migrants, and they are seriously worried because there just isn't the local labour pool for them to draw from if the migrants decide to leave. So, is there a solution to this?
Well, I think the solution is a government solution. Has to be. The government it would seem, had no understanding that this would have happened, and we have to get labour from abroad. We don't have enough labour, capable labour, just sitting around waiting for jobs that may not be quite so attractive. But I actually think the jobs in our tourist industry are probably pretty decent jobs. I think our employers are pretty good.
Pretty good on the whole, yeah.
Yeah, but I think I was having a conversation with Cumbria Tourism's new chief executive a short while ago, saying I really think that we ought to be pressing government on this issue, because there is no strategy.
It is. I know Cumbria Tourism is, as is the chamber, and because you mentioned earlier about the affordable housing, because you're saying we need to attract more people. We can't do that unless there's somewhere for them to live.
No, and again, we have an affordable housing programme, that will that is delivering for us roughly 30%, 35% of every sizable development.
Has to be
affordable. But affordable is a bit of a two-edged weapon, really, because it's affordable in terms of the regular housing market price, but for a lot of jobs it's still not affordable.
No.
And we did find when on a development we were doing at that stage planning to do, which we have delivered in Grange over Sands, that the young people that were coming forward at an open evening were saying, well, we can't afford a mortgage for the affordable home, so they want affordable to rent, to give them an opportunity to get established. And it's a real challenge for young people, and we're very much aware of that. And we try. If you ever interview our housing portfolio holder, you will find some of the innovative schemes that they're putting forward involving quite big sums of money. So I see that as part of economic development.
It is, yes, that's encouraging. Now, on a similar thing, the Low Pay Commission is visiting Kendal in April as part of a national tour to gauge the views of businesses on the minimum wage. Now, interestingly, the reason they chose to come to South Lakeland is because 12.1% of the workforce here is on the legal minimum. Now, that's almost double the national average, which is 6.8%. So we've got a higher proportion of lower paid workers. Why is that? And would you like to see fewer of these low paid jobs?
Well, if I start first with the why is that, we do have some intrinsically lowly valued jobs, and they can be in the care community, they can be in the basic functions in the hospitality trade, where and I'm not making massive criticism, but low wage isn't clever. The higher the wage, the more free spending people can be. It's that odd cycle you get in. If you've got people who are struggling just with the basics, they're not really an asset to your community. We have quite a large number of people that have 2 and sometimes 3 jobs.
Yeah.
They're all probably on the low pay scale, and I do think it's tragic. We try and take a lead in terms of the living wage here. We're adopting the living wage, but that is a big improvement, but it's still, for me, the culture of that is wrong. You know, we should have people who can earn a high value existence.
I suppose that's coming back to the websites, what you're trying to attract into the area.
Well,
is taking companies and people like that who will employ high paid workers.
Yeah, well, mind you, we are a major importer of labour. Our adjoining district councils, we pull in quite a lot of labour.
And that's partly because of housing affordability, isn't it?
Yes,
it's
it
cheaper
is.
to live in Carnforth, say, than it is to live in...
And if we look at that rationally and say, well, actually, that's probably how it is, we probably couldn't have got a new garden village here with 5,000 homes or anything like that. They couldn't do that in Lancaster. That might be a pool, that might be housing for a pool of labour that might travel north.
Yeah.
We're very comfortable with that because it's within our economic ambition.
Right, well, we can come to that later on, but one other issue I'd like to raise, it was a blow last year when GSK announced that they were cancelling what was a £350 million investment in a new pharma plant at their Ulverston site. And not only were they cancelling it, but they were putting the site up for sale, their antibiotics business there. What are the prospects, do you think, for securing a buyer?
Yeah, I've never felt that it was a blow. It was certainly a disappointment because we lost what we saw as big potential. But the reality, now it's coming down to it, first of all, that business is a well-capitalised business. They've got one skills on the site. The product is very, very profitable. It's quite difficult to understand why a big multinational want to divest itself of that, but they have their own strategy. So putting that to one side, the business is very saleable. From what we can make out, there is a business task force, I'm a member of that works to try and present the business and Ulverston at its very best for a potential buyer, and we will try, our economic development team will try and answer any questions about development. But my own belief is that there could be benefits still to be had here in that a company, the antibiotic sterile production around the world is not good, and what they're doing at Ulverston is producing absolutely the number one sterile production, the range of antibiotics. Now that in itself will open up avenues in other countries. So I would not be at all surprised if quite quickly we'll be talking with the company about development, because it's an attractive business. They've got it. It was quite a complicated business. There was the business at Ulverston, and the product then went to I presume it was a packaging plant. I've never been at Bartley Castle, but there was an involvement of a company in Girona, all for that same product.
Yes.
So, but they managed to clean all of that out, and on my understanding is they found actually the business is more profitable than they'd understood by separating out all these functions into that one unit. So everybody is pretty upbeat. Plainly, employees are concerned. You're always concerned when there is a change. But I think if the change is on a rising tide, which it feels like it to me, I think that business will settle very nicely to continue to be a backbone employer in Flinders Peninsula.
Good. That's very encouraging. Now, the Chamber values its partnership with South Lakeland Council very highly, and we hold an annual dinner, we call it the Partners Dinner, happened a couple of weeks ago, and the guest speaker was Professor Andrew Atherton from Lancaster University, and intriguingly he raised the prospect of businesses leaving London because of the very high costs of being in the capital. And he thought they would look at areas where there's a high quality of life and obviously a lower cost base, like South Lakeland. Do you agree with that analysis? And what sort of businesses would you like to attract from London or maybe other large cities that would be looking to move?
Yeah, looking at the objective that what London has, it has a massive cultural offer. We're all supporting that. Their museums are free, their art galleries are free, you've got to pay up here. But then they hold huge government departments, again, mostly very well paid positions. And then they've attracted other like the BBC, as I know. We've had experience of Media City now in Manchester, which I welcome.
And Channel 4's moving out of London, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would absolutely welcome that as a development, because London is an overheated economy.
Oh, well, without a doubt, but obviously South Lakeland probably isn't suited for very large employers to move out. But there are smaller businesses. I just wondered whether there were particular sectors that you thought, well, this would be ideal in South Lakeland.
No, I suppose really the creative industries are the ones that come to mind for me. We've got a very strong core of creative industries that don't look like they're anxious to leave. This area is their inspiration, and I believe that in London some of the creative sectors are working in very poor conditions because affordability. Companies like that could certainly be accommodated up here, but as far as a big sector move, I don't see that happening. If there's a drift and a gradual clustering developing, I'd be really comfortable with that. But I think the concept of London business, although it'd be a hard fight to encourage them to come, have a lot to gain by coming here. And Media City, Manchester has done a wonderful job, and we want to be a part of that. And I think Media City, with people from here work at Media City. So it's a great environment there, and that's that sort of major development by a major city can have major impacts for us, that we can get a spin-offs from that, and that's more likely to be the route.
Yeah. Okay. Now you've launched an initiative with Borough Council and Lancaster City Council. The working title is the Lancaster and South Cumbria Economic Partnership. Tell me about this. What is it, and what do you hope to achieve there?
Well, what we've looked at is South Lakeland, 100,000 people, 103,000, and if you're 2 bus rides away, nobody knows we're here. And when we start to look around for how we improve our impact, certainly branding was one of the things that came to mind. But then we're looking much further than that. We have this, we've already spoken about the university relationship and the potential Garden Village relationship with Lancaster, and we have again similar relationship with Barrow. They have a big targeted economy in Barrow. It's not as big as ours, but when we look at all three, they are a functioning economy. 96% of people that live within that area live and work within those 3 counties.
Yeah.
So it's a natural economy, and natural economies are what government are interested in, and what we look for, we're wanting government assistance. We don't go with a begging bowl. We're putting together a package. When we want something, we can go to the minister and say, this is what we can do for you, Minister.
Yes, it's showing the opportunity,
absolutely.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And this partnership is developing quite rapidly. We've got 2 enthusiastic partners, and they're a delight to be working with. At this stage, we're understanding each other, and we're looking now at where the real potential of that combination is. But when we look at the GVA of those 3 organisations,
3 districts,
combined, we're something like the 5th biggest economy in the northwest.
Really? Yeah.
And that has some impact, to say the least. And it's building on that now. We would have a world-class university on our doorstep, Lancaster.
Plus the University of Cumbria.
And the University of Cumbria, which is re-emerging now, and it's got a very energetic and enthusiastic new leadership and team, and they will stamp their mark and we're very pleased to work with them, as well as Lancaster. At the moment, Lancaster would be our flagship. Is not denying 5th best university in the country.
Yeah.
So, and it has a world ranking. So that is important, and they have a business ethos. It was one of the reasons that Andrew Atherton was invited, is because of that business ethos that they have, business engagement. So we think the what you call the local economic, used to call it initiative. We do have another name for it, which I won't announce here because that's not fair on our partners, but it's a bit more...
It's a bit snappier.
Yeah, exactly. It's not such a mouthful, although a bit difficult to satisfy all 3 districts in a split word. But no, it's a serious enough. It does describe what we are, where we are, and really what our strength is. So I think we should all look forward to seeing how that progresses. We were working independently of Carlisle, who are actually ahead of us and have done similar thing with the Borderlands initiative, much bigger than what we're looking at. But our aim is different. Our aim is to have a real foothold and a real voice in the Northern Powerhouse, because that's got an energy and a standing and a political commitment. If we wanted something doing, we would likely get it with that political energy from from within the Northern Powerhouse than than struggling on our own.
Yes.
So that is, I think, where we are with that. It's a great picture for us.
It's an exciting prospect and a good one to end on.
Well,
thank you very much, Graham.
Very welcome, very nice, thank you.